Hey everybody, John here from All Miniatures Great and Small, and today we're going to be talking about Dropfleet Commander. We're going to do a little unboxing and mini review of some of Hawk Wargames' latest releases for Dropfleet Commander. So I ordered from Hawk Games a couple of Saratoga class light cruisers. So here's one of them. They just came in a Ziploc bag like this. We'll go ahead and open that. And I also ordered a blister of Santiago class Corvettes. So we have a blister of 6 of them. So we're going to take a look at both of these in a little bit more detail. Let's start with the Corvettes. So this is like, I think the last ship in the UCM line that doesn't have a model that was found in the basic rulebook. So these are the smallest ships. They're a little bit smaller than frigates, and they have a special role in the game in that they primarily, and every race has them, but primarily they are used to hunt ships in atmosphere. So there we have a painted example so you can see what it looks like. Painted example. Some Hawk foam, stickers for the bases, enough stickers for 6 bases. We have the 6 bases here, and then we have the 6 frigates. Corvettes. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit here. Get a better look at this. So you can see these guys are pretty nicely detailed, but they are very small. They are one piece, so not too much to worry about assembly wise. And there's one point for the probably the mold gate there on the end that's going to have to be trimmed. That's kind of an unfortunate spot because it's right on the front, but otherwise, detail looks really cool. Now, just to give you an idea of this compared to a UCM frigate, I'll get those guys there, and you can see the size difference. It's a little bit wider, but of course it's missing a big part of its center section. It's nowhere near as bulky. Whew, there we see that there's some warping on these wings. Might require a little heat to fix that. I wonder if they're all like that. Yeah, that one looks better. But you know, you're dealing with resin, so that is obviously something you have to kind of expect, is that you might have to deal with some warpage. But there you go. So the frigate is obviously much larger, and you get 6 of them. I don't know how often you'll play with 6. I don't know if I'm going to paint up all 6. I might just paint up a couple to see how they play. But there you go. That's what you get for your, I think these are 20 pounds on the Hawk Wargames store. So there you go. That is the, we'll look at the models themselves. Next up, let's take a look at the rules in the book. Okay, so here we have the book. We've got the Santiago class Corvette for 22 points. And it just has one weapon. It has a Stingray missile bay. And that's a 4+ lock, 3 attacks, 1 damage each. And front, side, and rear, and air-to-air and close action. So air-to-air means it can fire in atmosphere without needing to roll a 6, and close action means you can only fire it within your scan range. So it only has a range of 6 because the scan range of 6. Hull-wise, this ship only has 2 hull points, 5+ armor, which is not very good when you compare it to a Toulon is the model we were comparing before, which has 4 hull points and 4 armor. But it's significantly cheaper. You can buy 3 of these Santiagos for the price of 2 of the Toulons, which are at 35 points. So there you go. That's the only ship that I think in the UCM arsenal that has air-to-air, an air-to-air weapon. So basically, they are designed to hunt things in atmosphere. So that's going to be your enemy dropships, your Shaltari gates, anything that's hiding in the atmosphere. These guys are designed to seek them out and shoot them down. Every race has their own version. I only picked up the UCM version, but they all have something that does something similar, something to hunt down enemy dropships in atmosphere. So there you go. That's just a quick look at, again, your Santiago class Corvette. Okay, next up we're going to take a look at the Saratoga class light cruiser. So it just comes in a Ziploc bag. Hawk Wargames said that this is a limited release, so once they're done, I think in the middle of April, they're just going to stop selling them, and from then on out they're just going to be you know, like convention exclusives and things like that. So hopefully, I think they're trying to make something rare, and the fluff for the ship kind of is similar. But let's take a look at the model first. So the Saratoga is an alternate sculpt for the new Cairo. So it's the same stats, so you're not getting a new ship class or anything like that. It's just an alternate model for the new Cairo light cruiser that already exists in the main rulebook. All right, so we've got a big base, all the parts we need for the base. We got the little pegs, which I never use because they're so fiddly, and the stickers. So we'll put that off to the side. Then we have the ship itself. Oh, there's the Hawk widget. Let's get rid of that. Put it over there. The hull itself is 2 parts. Then we have a couple of sprues for antennas, and we obviously don't use all of those antennas on the Saratoga here. So this is 2 parts. I already built one, so I could show it to you guys constructed, but I wanted to show you this one out of the bag, so I hadn't opened it. Here you get an idea of the parts. There are mold points right here and right here. So you can't really dry fit it without trimming it first. Now I had a little issue with a gap in assembling these, but a little hot water, I boiled it and basically pinched here a little bit, got rid of most of it. So there you go. And just to take a look at the detail, if you guys don't know what the new Cairo is, it's basically the light cruiser with the burn through laser option. So this is the burn through laser, kind of held between the 2 mandibles of the ship, rather than being slung underneath. And then here we have the rear hull, which has the engines. Now I did notice that there is another engine on here at the back of, so this is the front, and then there's an engine here, so it actually sits on the back. Alright, so those 2 go together. Then there's a couple spots here for antennas. You've got three spots for antennas, and then the Hawk widget goes here. So you're only using 3 of these 8 antennas, which are, I think, anti-gravity coils is the correct term. So those are the parts you're getting for your Saratoga class light cruiser. Now let's take a look at the completed model. So I built this one a little bit earlier. And there you go. The only thing I had to do was, as I mentioned earlier, do something about this gap. And basically I had to heat up this piece. I just dipped it in boiling water, pushed this piece up a little bit, this part of the spar, so that it fits snugly into that spot. And you can kind of see that joint but now it's kind of hidden pretty well. And then here, as I was talking about earlier, you can see that that engine on top. So the fluff for this bad boy is that this was an experimental design of the new Cairo, built on, I forget the name of the planet. But anyway, they only built 12 of these before the Scourge showed up, counterattacked, and destroyed all the shipyards. This ship was meant to be kind of a high-tech prototype. There were only 12 built before the shipyards were destroyed. They basically, I think, use half the crew, but have the same exact stats as the new Cairo. So, kind of give you an idea of what it looks like. Now, to compare it to the new Cairo, which I just happen to have right here, you can see the similarities. So just like all the light cruisers, they use this stubby wings in the back. They are roughly the same size. I think the new Cairo is slightly longer. And then from the side you can see how it's laid out. The new Cairo's burn-through laser is mounted underneath here. Mine's actually magnetized, but whereas this burn-through laser is kind of in between. It's also narrower on the top. But so there you go. I mean, there's the new Cairo and the Saratoga, basically the same exact stats in game. There's no difference in the stats. Which one do I like better? Well, I'm not sure. I want to see this painted up before I make my final judgment call. But right now, I'm very fond of these designs. I really like this one, so I kind of like the original. So right now, I'd give it to the original, but maybe when I'm painting this thing, I'll move up a little bit. I'm not regretting its purchase. I kind of like the idea of having a couple of these that are you know, special and kind of unique. So it's kind of cool that they gave us that option. And of course, if you don't take up Hawk and order these before April 15th, you're not missing anything. You just use the standard and new Cairo model for the same exact stats. So it's not that big a deal. But for the collectors out there and want to have one of everything, it's pretty cool. I like it. So as far as how these ships perform in the game, now you may or may not be familiar with the new Cairo. It's basically a light cruiser, so it's not quite as powerful as a normal cruiser. And typically light cruisers have one primary weapon. You know, like the cruisers have turrets up here, but the light cruisers don't. That makes them, light cruisers, very efficient. They're good, have good action economy, because you don't ever need to go weapons free with these light cruisers. They have their burn through laser, and that's what you're bringing them for, to fire that burn through laser. So it can do the order, like the maneuvering order to line up targets. Since it only has one weapon to fire, you're really not worried about weapons free ever or adding extra spikes to your ship. So they're pretty cool. Now they do have to be fielded in units of 2, I believe. You can't field them in singles. So you have to have 2, and that's another reason why I ordered 2 of these guys. But they are very popular for UCM builds, especially burn-through laser lists. They're a very efficient way to add burn-through laser to your fleet. All right, so there you go, guys. That is the look at the brand new Saratoga sculpt from Hawk War Games. I hope you enjoyed this unboxing and quick look at the ship. Please let us know what you think down in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. If you like this video, go ahead and subscribe. Give us a like. Thanks for watching, and keep on wargaming.